You're listening to the Paracasual Destiny Podcast live, episode 27. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is the Paracasual Destiny Podcast, episode 27, and I'm Sooltime, and I'm joined by Salliebug, Greenstego, and Romance Girl on this beautiful morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Now,
Good morning.
we haven't done this in a while, but let's get the important stuff out of the way. A little housekeeping here. Has everybody had their coffee?
Yes.
Yes.
Remember when we
and
used
I
to
have
do...
my second cup right here.
Oh, second cup. I just finished my second cup, so I'm conscious now. You know, we haven't... Remember when we used to do that coffee break thing? Do you guys remember that?
Oh, yes.
I remember.
We used to do this sort of coffee break brought to you by the Paracasual Destiny Podcast. What you drinking? What kind of coffee you got?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, I remember.
Yeah, well,
I remember
The good old
fondly.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah, way back when.
So, Salliebug, what kind of coffee have we been drinking? It's still the Carpe Diem local brew, right? Local roaster.
It's Carpe Diem. It's a kind of a combo of a lot of different things because we were like at the end of one and the beginning of another. But I think it's just the Carpe Diem blend, like their
Poetic.
kind of staple blend, and bistro blend, and a little vanilla almond.
Yum, yum, and yum.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really good.
How about down there in Texas? What are y'all drinking as of late?
Well, our first cup was a fresh pot of hot coffee, which was some cinnamon hazelnut brew
Okay.
from our
Ooh, yeah.
local
H-E-B.
grocer, H-E-B.
All right. Living large.
Mm-hmm. And so we,
Store brand.
yeah, it's just store-brand coffee, but it's nice.
And I think 75% of it is how you make it. Strength, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
The
also
grind.
got an iced coffee.
You got what?
Iced coffee.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
you-
had a hot mocha this morning, and we're following it up with an iced coffee.
yin and yang, cold and hot, up and down,
Fire
left
and
and right,
ice.
black and white. There we go. I like it. I like it a lot. Maybe I find myself bringing up the coffee because of the monumental tsunami of Destiny news that we have to tackle this week. It's been 2 weeks since our last podcast, and a lot has happened inside, outside of the community, everywhere in the world of Destiny. I'm thinking we should cut right to the February 18th TWAB, which is, a week and a half
So
back.
long ago.
Oh, that was a
Yeah,
decade
let's
ago.
go.
Was it 2 weeks back or whatever? Yeah, let's go on that. I am going to bring it up for the folks who are tuning in on YouTube. Of course, you can find this podcast on pretty much any podcast outlet, whether it's iTunes or Spotify or whatever you like to use. I'm a Pocket Cast fan myself, and we're there as well. We're everywhere. That's the beauty of this podcast. If we don't have an audience, at least we have, an outlet,
A platform.
a platform. Yeah, isn't that at the end of the day? Isn't that all that matters? Is that we have a platform like that? So, this week at Bungie, February 18th, 2018, I finally got it up. Strange things afoot. Guardians have discovered a distress signal. So they start off with what's actually going to be our Grimoire, Touch of Grimoire, and Destiny Soundcheck, two special sections we have in this podcast. Later on, we're going to be talking about this more in detail then, but a mysterious derelict ship lurks in the abyss of space. Terrifying sounds of the unknown ring from within. What puzzles and treasures await, they asked. And now we know, for those of us who have pursued this and done this, Romance Girl, have you had a chance to go in on this yet?
Yes, first of all, when it launched, that was when our power was out.
Right.
So,
That's
that
why I
was,
asked. I wasn't sure whether you guys were able to
disappointing.
manage this one.
So no, yeah, when the power came back on and it was safe to use the power,
Sure.
beyond conserving, that was the first thing we did is we got our friend and clanmate Ghost to take us through this mission.
Shout out to Ghost. He is definitely,
shout out as always.
I mean, he is the man behind the curtain for our clan. He really kind of keeps this clan in tune with the game and is always willing to offer a helping hand to pull us through content so that we can come on here. Shout out to Ghost indeed, so we can come on here and talk about it at least. So shout out to Richard, if you're listening. We love you and thank you so much for helping us. So
I don't know how long it would have taken us, even with video guides, to figure out all those.
Yeah, and you know the thing of it is,
puzzles.
as I was researching and reading a lot of people are saying how great the experience was going in blind. But I'm with you. It would have taken hours, I think, to figure out that it's a real maze and it's wonderfully constructed down to the visuals and man, the horror, like capturing the horror, classic horror movie feel of it was, I think we were saying it reminded us a lot of the original Alien movies. It just had that, the flicker strobe effects going on and the eeriness about it. Stego, what were your impressions?
Instant classic. I just saw, you instantly fall in love with something like that. It's the kind of thing like this sci-fi spooky horror that's gonna really connect very well, because like it's not for everybody, but we're restricting it to Destiny players, and we like sci-fi and we like fantasy, and this spooky ship really just hit all the buttons for me. I love that it's our first surprise mission in a while. It really captured that Whisper of the Worm feel.
One thing,
this surprise thing.
One thing that I was super thankful for, and there is a timer on the
Master
newer mode, the Catalyst mode. I forget exactly what it's called, but
higher difficulty.
The master mode.
Yeah.
But I was so thankful that there wasn't a timer on this mission because, one, you just want to experience it. It's not like you don't want to race through it because you only have a certain amount of time.
Right. You appreciate the environment and really take it in.
Right.
So there's mini timers with the buff. So it still
so it still gives you a sense of urgency, but in little bite size, and you can do it over as many times as you need to. So,
right. I totally appreciated when there's that timer going on, you see that in kind of like the bottom right hand corner, and it's just like you feel the pressure of it, and it just adds that layer of just kind of tenseness, which in a way can be good, I guess. Some people really like that. But for me, it was nice to experience it without that kind of added piece of tenseness. I loved it. I loved everything about it. The visuals were just amazing. The story is amazing, which we'll get into later. The gun is amazing.
Are these just called missions, or what do we call these? Because we have raids, we have strikes, we have dungeons. What are these things like 0 Hour and the Whisper? They're just missions?
I think mission. Yeah, I like the word mission. I'm going to say mission works.
Yeah. Funny Bones in chat saying he doesn't like the timers either. He likes enjoying the aesthetic, stopping and smelling the roses for sure, especially in this particular one. And Funny Bone, if you haven't done it yet, we definitely need to go in with you, and because this is definitely up there in terms of what the accomplishments from the studio in the past.
Yeah, and
I'm always
C3PO as
blown
well. I
away
think she'd
by
really
how
enjoy it.
big Destiny's environments feel. Like, you don't feel like you're in a level of a video game. You really feel like you're going, the entire ship that you're exploring exists. That
Yeah.
it's like this
Oh,
huge space
yes.
that you're occupying. And I don't know. Something about, I mean, I get that with Halo, or I got that with the early Halo games, but something about the way Bungie captures those environments, the
It's
scale
almost,
of it is just
I think it has to
so
do with
impressive.
I think it has to do with the graphics as well. Like there's something about the field of view or something that you get immersed in, and I can't wait to upgrade to Series X, and see it, in at that 60 FPS with the field of view tweaking. That's going to be great. That'll bring out what already exists. It'll bring it out even more. What you're talking
Yeah,
about,
Destiny's
I feel.
my main reason for wanting a Series X.
I know,
I can't even
it
think
is.
of another reason.
Absolutely.
Hands down. Yeah.
But there's a little bit more to it than just the graphics too, because we actually just saw some. This is not Destiny, so warning. We're veering off track here. But
Oh no!
the new demo for that new game, what's it called?
Outriders.
It also has good graphics, but when we were watching some gameplay and some reviews, it just didn't capture us in the same way. It's still like visually great, like it's a stunning game, but the environments really didn't like capture.
They weren't
us
as
in the same way.
immersive or like as inspiring.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's just that Bungie magic.
Mm-hmm.
It's
magic.
just no one's been able to replicate it yet.
It's Bungie magic. It comes down to Bungie magic. Funny Bones wondering what the scout rifle is. Tex Mechanica? What is it? Now I'm confused.
Yeah, Tex Mechanica.
It's Tex Mechanica.
Yeah, Sallybug wrote something else
a
in
little
chat.
bit of a typo.
It's
Mechana? Yeah, I missed.
Tex Mechanica is the brand name.
Mechanica. I missed a syllable there.
It's the brand name of the weapon. The scout rifle's called Dead Man's Tail.
What is some other Tex Mechanica weapons? The last word?
The last
word.
Yeah,
Chaperone.
The chaperone.
Chaperone.
Which is a
Huckleberry.
Oh,
that's right.
Huckleberry.
They all have the little horns on them, right? Most of them.
Yes.
Most of these weapons, that's the signature.
Insignia.
The insignia of them. Tex Mechanica Scout. Fractious Heart got it right.
Dead Man's Tail very much is the last word turned into a scout rifle.
Scout rifle.
Yeah.
Except
it's a cowboy hip fire scout rifle, but
it's not really good with hip fire unless you have the catalyst. Is that my understanding?
Basically.
Well, the hip fire is certainly enhanced by the catalyst, but I think that's just the idea of the weapon, is what I'm just saying. Philosophically. Okay.
That makes sense.
But I enjoy using it mostly in scope. I use all my weapons in scope.
I do too. Honestly, actually, we just went through it yesterday. We did it the second time to get the random roll, because similar to, for those of you listening and for those of you out there, it is similar to the Hawk Moon in that once you run it, after you've run it the first time, you can run it again and get random rolls. And but it's limited to once per week, I think, per account. I may be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure it's once per week per account to get the
Yeah, that
to
it's
get
got
that
that lock.
random
It might
roll.
be 2 if you're able to run the master.
Ooh.
Right. Yeah.
And then you have
I'm
multiple
not sure.
characters, and you can go
Maybe.
really
I don't
crazy
know.
if you don't have a
Right.
life
do
outside
not
of.
take that as a confirmation.
No,
I don't know.
but at
actually.
any rate, for those if you're not aware, it does have like that random roll, so it's a farmable weapon,
Which I think is a smart way to make these types of missions replayable.
Right, it makes them relevant, right? To do them more than once, to go in and do them again.
I was skeptical about random rolls on an exotic, but I think for specific weapons, especially kinetic scout rifle, I mean, not scout rifles, just kinetic exotics in general have been underpowered.
Right.
I think that's a great way to make them on level of other exotics. Like, why would I use a kinetic exotic over Lament?
And it's not like they're going
example.
Right, and it's not like they're going crazy with the perk pool, right? It's very limited.
Exactly.
So I like it too.
But still gives that mission just a little bit more value when you want to play through it again.
Right.
And in all honesty, like I was just loving that weapon, even with like no roll, like just the base one. Just enjoying the gun.
I only have the base one, and I love it.
And pulling it out and using it pretty much for like all of the different, like my brain just went dead. Need another
More
sip
coffee.
of coffee. Exactly. But anyway, all of they're not called Empire Hunts. I've got Empire Hunt on the brain because I tried one.
Battlegrounds?
Solo. Yeah, the Battlegrounds. Been using them in the Battlegrounds, and it's just so fun. And then Ghost gets us through, and I get a random roll, and it's like I can't even imagine taking this off ever now. I'm having so much fun with it.
What was your roll?
4th time's a charm.
Nice.
Yeah, I want that.
That's basically the god roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Tell her what
good.
else it's got.
It could have high caliber rounds, which was nice as well.
Yes.
You know, so it could have a different scope. I forget what scope it is. It's not like the best of scopes, but
or barrel.
Just, again, barrel. But again, it just gives me an opportunity to try again. But this one is so good.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
Anyway.
Oh.
We should move on.
Yeah, let's move on. The next
a lot of time on this one thing, and there's so much more.
I don't know how we haven't even touched the update yet.
Yeah,
we gotta get on.
Oh, there's so much to talk about.
We've been talking about for 20 minutes. Basically done.
Moving on.
Iron Banner. They said next week Lord Saladin will return. Next week was this week, right?
Right. Yes. Right. And it's here. So.
Yep. So.
And it's here.
Okay.
Anyone jumped in?
Last night.
Anyone jumped into I'm calling it?
I'm calling it.
Yeah, he called it a few times.
We only got 1 or 2. I'm calling it.
Oh, good for you. You were lucky. We keep getting I'm calling it.
For us, it was about 80%. I'm going to say about 80% were
I would say
called.
like the first game was like that, right, Stego?
Yeah.
And then it was just basically just normal Crucible results, you know, some wins, some losses.
For us, when it's less frequent, when it's not like every game, they just don't stand out as much because it's just like, oops, let's just re-queue everybody, because that did happen more than a couple times, but it just like wasn't a big deal for us. Where it was like, we have 5 kills and they're already casting their supers.
Right.
It's like, it's just over.
That happened so much for us, but I
understand.
Say, like, when they
go ahead, Sally.
I was going to say you're in the pool of players is probably much larger because we're in a very rural part of the United States, and so when they Yeah, and it's connection based, right? So when they say, okay, we're breaking up these teams, it just means they're throwing all of the people back into the pot, mixing them around and seeing what comes out again. We're not going to have that many, right? We don't have as many to choose from. Whereas where
That's a
you're
good point.
from in
More
a
metropolitan,
a metropolitan
civilized
area,
Populous.
when they do that, let's throw them all into a pot. Your pot much bigger, so you're less likely to get put back in with the same group.
Stego's right. There was a few more. I'm exaggerating. It wasn't like 2. There was probably like 3 or 4, but it just didn't feel as frequent. And the ones that did get called got called very quickly.
Quickly, and then we found the same names popping up, which is really just like what you want. You just kind of want to find a group of 12 guardians who you're around the same skill level with, and you just kind of ping pong around between I'm calling it matches until you can find a group that you connect well with, and then you're also around the same.
Yeah, we were seeing a lot of repeats.
Yeah.
I think
one guy kept getting
kind of the opposite
duality.
of what Salliebug was saying.
Just think from our perspective, from Salliebug and Sooltime, from our perspective, and we're on that, just like you have that perspective of the top 5% of players have their perspective of how matchmaking is and the state of PvP and all that, and connection versus skill based. We're on the bottom 5% probably. We're the people you see at the bottom of the table with 2 kills, 0.32, 0.67 something KD at the end of the match. And so from our perspective, it's really it's really tough to get progress on those bounties, let alone the quest. And so for the I'm calling it is one thing. But always having somebody like 1, 2, maybe 3 people at the top of the table cleaning up and taking you to victory is just as bad as having them on the other team for the I'm calling it, because it shortens you're spending more time matchmaking or equal time matchmaking as you are in game trying to progress those bounties. So it's really off-putting, and it's like Salliebug. As soon as we get the weekly challenge done, we're out of here, And I just didn't want to have anything to do with it
right away. Did you make any progress on the? I was going to say our matchmaking is so quick too. It's just makes it a lot easier going from game to game.
Yeah.
Well, and as far as the progress, like the Saladin quest, like his not the 4 bounties, but his quest. Yeah. I went in, and of course you had to get solar or arc ability kills, and I think I used solar, put on a Phidias spade, so I would have 2 throwing knives, and just kind of like did my best. It still took quite a bit of time to get that final ability kill, because I always forget to just throw it. Right, I have it, but I forget to do it. But at any rate, and then it got to the power weapon one, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I was like, I'm never going to even get to the power. I'll get killed even going near it. People were camping it. I was getting sniped anytime I got close to it. So it was like, okay, I don't think I'm going to go any further with this. It's not going to happen. And then Bungie heard from the community that a lot of people were saying that it wasn't just me, which is nice to know that it's not just me and my poor skills. And they auto completed it for everybody.
Yeah.
So, but I still haven't. Because I was kind of discouraged, not really discouraged, because I did get 2.
I was discouraged.
2 of those bounties done. I got the capping the zones. I pretty much always get that one, and then I forget what the other one is. I think it's just killing guardians, combatants, however it's worded. But I got those 2 things, so and helped progress me.
Guardians, combatants is PvE.
Right, guardians. So I got I got 2 of the
Enemies of the
4
light.
pinnacle bounties done. So, and I was gonna just say, well, I'm not gonna progress any further, and the other ones are like at 30 or 40%, and I'm not sure I'm motivated to go any further with that. So I'm probably not gonna play anymore. And then they auto completed the quest, and it's like, now maybe I will go back in because I actually have something to work towards.
Have you gone back in yet?
Toward. I have not. I got sidetracked with some other stuff. Typical Bungie ADD, Destiny ADD. Kicked right in. Like what to do next.
Before moving on, really quickly, they introduced these new weapons, the Multi-Mach CCX, which is returning from the first year of Destiny 2 with random rolls. Is the other one the Time-Worn Spire Pulse? Is that as well?
Yes.
So, did anybody get a chance to give those a whirl? Try those out?
Yeah.
I got a Multi-Mach CCX just from turning in old Iron Banner tokens.
That's how I got it. Yeah. Me too.
I got
but I
one
haven't
too.
tried it yet. I decided to go with my Igelos SMG to get the SMG kills for that step. So
Okay.
I haven't tried the Multi-Mach yet.
Well, that's good
I
advice
didn't really like
because
my roll.
I have a pretty decent Igelos SMG. That's good advice.
Yeah, it was just the one I was most comfortable
Right.
with. So I
Yeah,
Right, that makes
I've been
sense.
using the newer one, that Extraordinary Rendition, which I've really been enjoying, and I've got
it's
a pretty
so
decent
good.
roll
I
on
should have
it.
tried that one.
So I think I haven't gotten to that step yet. I haven't gone in and done it, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to use that one because, again, it's something I know. I've been using it recently and know how it feels. It's a great gun,
Time-Worn
too.
Spire,
really
I
like
got
it.
the one that the Iron Banner one that sacrifices stability. No, sacrifices range for stability, and so it's just unusable. It's like the
I agree.
lowest range stat I have ever seen.
I totally agree.
I gotta tell you, it's like
they're too
I
stingy
like-
with those perks. I mean,
I like the idea.
I was gonna
behind those
actually try that
perks.
too. Oh, sorry. What?
I like the idea behind both of those perks. It's like Iron Grip, and the other one is Iron
Reach
something.
I think
Or
it's
whatever,
Iron Reach.
But the cost benefit is just, it's too great. What you end up having to
hurts.
sacrifice for the other, it's just, I don't like those perks compared to some of the other perks that you can get, like that aren't Iron Banner perks. I haven't been a fan of them.
The Iron
Haven't been
Banner
a fan
perks
of
are
those
too
perks.
punishing. It sounds like that's the consensus, although Greenstego is mysteriously quiet.
I'm mysteriously quiet.
What did you use for the SMG in Iron Banner?
I used the Multi-Mach. I got my first one. I actually got not from tokens, but at the very beginning of the season, I turned in the Iron Banner bounty from last season, which I held on to.
They last that long? Oh, because you
Did you
completed
do that on
it.
purpose, or did you just forget to turn it in?
The latter.
A little of both.
A little bit of
Column
both.
A, column
I think
B.
at this point, my memory of this situation is as ambiguous as it can be. So I'm going to choose to recall it in the way that paints me in the best light. So I definitely did it on purpose.
Okay.
I noticed that those old pinnacle bounties from last season were still capped at last season's pinnacle power.
Oh, interesting.
Right.
But it still dropped this season's loot pool. So I got a Multi-Mach and I got a Time-Worn Spire. But they were rolls, both of them, rolls that I didn't like. I got one that sacrificed reload speed for stability on my Time-Worn Spire, which I might be willing to try. A penalty on reload speed is probably the only one that I would be willing to try on any of those iron
Right.
perks.
I honestly don't mind the most of the time I don't mind the reload speed hit because I'm a hunter and I just use my dodge to reach.
Plus, you're hiding or invisible 80% of the time anyway.
I'll also mention that I was using Mask of Bacchus with my Ikelos SMG.
Oh, nice. I don't think I have
gives a boost to arc damage.
Does it increase arc damage in Crucible?
I don't know. I don't think
Psychological,
so. But
placebos work. Yeah.
It did give me the buff on screen when I did it. And it's like really helpful to blink into the face of somebody with an SMG when they don't see you coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, tuning next week at this same time for another episode of Dead Brain's Tale. Okay.
We haven't even made it through the last week's TWAB.
I know.
Well, I've got a trick up my sleeve here. I think we're not going to do PSR, Presage Pinnacle. We're going to move right on to, we're going to actually fast forward ahead to the latest TWAB. And I know there was a huge 2021 update. But they actually give a little TLDR here, and we encourage everybody out there to read the actual update. But it was right at the beginning of the February 25th TWAB. They give a little TLDR of the State of Destiny 2020, the road to the Witch Cream. Witch Queen. Witch Cream. I'm thinking of another cup of coffee. All right. They just give an overall of the topics. The first one is the news about delaying the Witch Queen's release, which I know there was a lot of tears across the pond over that. I think Ghost was having a real hard time with.
I think that's unfair. Richard, you might want to defend yourself in the live chat.
Well, I am.
Honestly,
I am judging a little bit here.
It's the best decision, right? It's obviously the best decision. If a game's not ready, we've seen it. I mean, actually, this week, Anthem, they finally pulled the plug on Anthem. It just goes to show you that you
don't say finally.
Finally pulled the plug.
It was inevitable.
Yeah, I know that they were really hoping that they could resurrect it, but it's just showing that if you need to take more time for a product, then you take it, right?
I think it's also showing that while other projects have struggled under these constraints, it's a surprise that Bungie's business has grown so much under the constraints of the pandemic and working from home.
Right.
Okay.
That's something else that actually was released from our last podcast, right? That they said that they're like basically tripling in size.
Right. Yeah. They're making a bigger footprint.
Their physical headquarters.
Their headquarters.
Yeah. Richard in chat says he's okay with the delay because we're getting Vault of Glass. So that's definitely his opinion on the delay. I feel like whatever they need to do to make a quality experience for us, I'm willing to give them a little while there. Plus, I like the idea of an early year release because, that September release for us as teachers is so difficult. It's like the really busy time of the year. And so I think early year release, January, and then we have this February break, which is coming to an end for us now, but we have this late February break. And it's just better for our personal schedule. So I'm excited about that on a personal note.
I'm also go ahead.
Well, I was going to say one of the content creators, I think it was Aztecross, was saying how, gosh, I wish they could release it right around Christmas, because that would be a good time. Like it would get a lot of traction and a lot of people. But
a December release.
But I think Cyberpunk tried that, and they had a difficult time. Another one where they had they were really trying to get it released.
Well, and I was gonna say when he said, I watched the same video, and when he said that, and it's like, holidays would be great because everyone has time off, and I'm like, well, maybe Bungie wants to give their employees time off for the holidays.
That's
like exactly.
Yeah.
Don't they
the time intensive period?
Right, right. Yeah, like it's not like they're healthcare workers. Where you have to.
I feel like that. That's a good point, Romance Girl. That's a really good point, because I feel like in a lot of the content and podcasts and content creation around Destiny, those discussions usually have that element missing. And it's like, you could say that they're talking about like power creep and sunsetting and all this. And the element that seems to always be missing is, well, what about the capabilities of the development team? What about Bungie?
Yeah.
They're humans behind this, making this game. You can't leave that out of the conversation,
They're complaining about how the developers aren't taking their perspective into the player's perspective into consideration, while at the same time not taking the developer's perspective into their own consideration.
Right. So
Nicely put.
It's just I feel like one thing we do well here is try to take a more objective, holistic approach to discussing the game. Anyway, let's move on. Power and how it raises season over season. I love what they're talking about here, and they do mention the word experiment if you go back and read the actual update. But this is where they're talking about just raising the power level by 10. I love it.
I love it.
Oh my goodness.
I love that so much.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, the power has been a slog every season to season. Totally agreed with what they said, that it feels like every season is a reset.
It
really does.
It is.
I know.
I'll jump into an activity
so much
that was easy
homework.
Before, and then it's like so hard, and I'm like, why? Which one of these is available to me?
And it kind of
as casual players, it's like most of the time we were getting. It was like at the end of a season when we actually finally reached the pinnacle level, and to say, okay, well, I just got to a point where I could even like go in and attempt a higher level Nightfall, and boom, you're like a week later you can't do it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Which is really messed up, because we as Guardians, we've taken out Hive gods. And then, like,
it doesn't make sense why we
few months, we're just like, damn, a Vandal sniper.
Right.
Exactly.
They'll start killing me again.
But think
right.
And I thought I made the point that if that had gone into effect this season, and we just had to get up, they just raised the power level 10 more, how much better, not for sure. I mean, you can never say. But I feel like our Iron Banner experience would have been better, because a lot of times I was just getting, pub stomped by 1310s. There's 1308s and 1310s in there.
Full trials gear, flawless title.
It wouldn't make a difference for those players, because by the time the first Iron Banner rolls out, we're 3 weeks into the season, and they are already
I know.
at max power.
Right.
Like, it doesn't make a difference for them.
Right. So if you level the playing field, do you increase the lobby pool and more players are playing and it's a better experience for everyone? I think there's a chance of that, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that kind of goes along with some of the other changes they mentioned in that document about balancing PvP and making it more approachable,
accessible
to a larger accessible to a larger player base. So I know that's a goal, and they're working on it.
Yeah. You're throwing in some real ADD thoughts here about elemental primaries and They don't have elemental primaries except
They had
for there's a
elemental
perk.
primaries in D1.
No, Fractious Heart says they
have scout rifles, hand cannons, anything that uses primary ammo. It just goes in your energy slot.
Yeah, it'll just go in your energy slot.
Right, that's true. So if they bring back, do you think that the Vision
They would
of
have to rename the
Confluence-
kinetic slot.
Right, the
Exactly,
Vision of Confluence.
right.
Confluence
I think
would
what
come back
Salliebug
as-
says, Salliebug, you're getting at is, are we going to go back to D1? Sort of just
Yeah.
elements in each slot available.
Well, they are. What they already did
Right.
with D2 is they brought those abilities back, so they would have to make it special in some different way.
Can't
Right,
you live with
right.
osmosis?
Right, yeah. You either bring it back as a kinetic, a weapon that's in the kinetic slot that has elemental properties, or you make it an energy weapon. So I've always had a hard time.
If it's an energy weapon,
simplest.
hopefully it has an additional perk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never made that full adjustment.
Trusty
from
is
the D1
a
days.
solar scout rifle.
It is, and it's an amazing one actually. But
Yeah. But psychologically, it's not in the top slot, so it doesn't count.
yeah.
I'm just wanted to get this out here.
All right.
The other, and I
Yeah,
feel like maybe you guys can relate. One of the other things I'm super excited about with this change in power leveling is it seems like this slog up to even just the soft cap it's so much homework. Like every time I get new stuff, I feel like, oh, now I'm going to have to go into dim and see what to keep and what not to keep. And it's become an obstacle for me.
Right, and it's like in the decision to infuse. Do I want to like use this blue to infuse this up so I can use the
Right.
weapon I want to use in this activity, or do I just keep on using the blue stuff and wait until I get to a higher level? And it's kind of a resource sink as well if you just kind of keep going on with the.
Well, I think that's the idea of the game. Like, what else are you using your resources on other than leveling
Right.
up?
Right, but it's
But
got
they
the,
do need to adjust it.
exactly,
Yeah.
and I just think it's gotten old. I mean, it's
Well-
part of the game. It's part of the game is doing that, and I've enjoyed it for 6 years, but it's getting old, you know.
Well, and for people like us, like we probably are sitting on resources where we can
Yeah.
do that easily.
Yeah,
but
we're resource
for newer
rich,
players,
right?
For newer players, who's like, we were talking with our granddaughter, and we said something about we were at Spider and saying, oh, don't forget to buy your enhancement cores. And she was like, I don't have enough legendary shards for that.
Yeah, she's a new light player, yeah.
Right. It brings to focus that not everybody is just sitting on thousands upon thousands of legendary shards.
Right. Good point.
So you need to kind of keep that in mind.
I think they're
right,
thinking
anyway.
of those players too. Got to think of them.
Absolutely. I think they are trying to make it. Long story short, you can tell all the adjustments they make are trying to make this game accessible for everyone who's playing.
Oh, that's the
Moving
sound of the
on.
chimes, and that means moving on to the next topic in the TWAB. No additional infusion caps. Bam!
The sunsetting
Happened.
of sunsetting.
Oh, I'm going to miss it. Not.
It's just like you can hear the whole community just doing this collective sigh of relief.
Hey, I was one of those people that was behind the idea of weapon refresh and
Yeah, me too.
retirement.
Yeah, we tried to.
But maybe it's just not meant for this game. It works with games like WoW, but this isn't WoW. It's Destiny. It's a different feel to it. It's a different environment. It's a different ecosystem. And they tried. They gave it a shot and saw this is not going to work out the way we hoped. And kudos to them for admitting it and moving on, and they're going to try to figure out some other mechanics around keeping the game fresh, keeping the meta fresh.
And this should make Funny Bone at least give him a glimmer of hope that Bungie is willing to admit, oh, hey, we missed the mark on this one, and we're willing to pull back on that. And so he.
I think that they frequently do that.
Yeah, they
did that with the Heavy quest. They did that with the Dawning quest.
Can I just, I'm looking at the chat here, and I'm just going to loop back really quick. People trying to get the Iron Banner quest done. We had some really good suggestions, Huckleberry being one of them for the submachine gun, and Ghost mentioned Risk Runner worked well for him. Just wanted to add that to the podcast.
Richard, did you hurt yourself with your arc grenade before going in with that Risk Runner?
He knows all the tricks.
I just need clarification on that.
Yeah. Drop a pulse grenade at your feet. You take one little burst of arc damage, and it triggers the overcharge on this runner.
We really
You're ready
have
to go to battle.
Yeah, we have to get Richard on this podcast sometime. So I don't know how that's going to come out in post. Great thing about doing your own podcast is you get to do whatever you want to do, right? So moving right along, I think we've talked about that thoroughly, as much as we're going to come to mind now. The next one, PvP. That's player versus player for the new listeners or the new gamers. Player versus player. Our goals for the future of Crucible: stasis balancing, game security, cheating, and Trials of Osiris. They gave what I thought was a real solid vision of what they want for PvP in this game, and it's anything but diminishing it or putting it to the side or making it like a lesser part of the game. It was really reinforcing their values when it comes to it, because
they put out a mission statement.
A mission statement.
Nice
it is a core piece to Bungie, and it has been since Halo, since the release of Halo, and so it is so important. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't remember too many of the details of that, other than they're looking at maybe buffing the light classes, Solar, Arc, and Void, and certainly there was some detail about nerfing the stasis classes, and 3 peaking, I think, was mentioned as well, which has been, I know if you're a Trials player especially, that's a problem. And changes to, and like we said, I had mentioned earlier, changes to kind of like how the matchmaking is done on those higher level. Right, Trials and Iron Banner matchmaking.
With card-based matchmaking, which I do not agree with.
Wait, say that again, Romance Girl? I'm sorry, I missed it.
It seems like they are going to still stick with card-based matchmaking.
I don't know.
It matches with how many wins, but they said they want to keep incentivizing the harder core players to stick with their cards and not reset them. But I don't think that that's the best. I don't know. I have to go read it again. I thought they opened the door, was just ajar a little bit to doing away with the card system. I don't know. I'm in agreement with Romance Girl, because they definitely said incentives for sticking with a card for that 3 to 5 wins. Yeah, which they've said before. That's saying we're sticking with it. We're sticking with the card base. It's not working. And they were saying something about like separating out the tiers, right? Right. So that the flawless people aren't being matched with game 1 people.
whatever. I think it does need work, and they understand that, and they're addressing it, which is great.
No, and I think that it will be addressed eventually. I have faith. I know that it's a work in progress.
Yeah,
and one of the other things, I don't know if it's listed, says and more, but it's kind of in this same realm that crossplay is coming later this year. And with it, of course, you can play PvP, but the only time that you would, as a console player, be playing PvP against PC players is if you were in a fire team with another PC player and you agreed to going into that pool. So as a console player, you won't go. In other words, as a console player, once crossplay comes to Destiny, you'll never as a console player play against a PC player unless you opt in.
Which we expected as it would have been.
Why can't it be the other way around? Why can't console players invite PC players?
I think you can.
No, I don't think so.
No, because then they'd have an unfair advantage, PC players against console players.
And they would just figure, like, they would just always get one PC players would just, like, get one console player to be the host and go into that pool and constantly.
Yeah, so that
they could own
console players.
It'd be a great way for them to elo farm.
Destiny is just easier on a PC. There, I said it.
Whoa. Okay. We're going to get a lot of email, I feel, from that one.
Well, there's a reason. There's a reason.
Clickers all know it.
There's things that you can change, right? The field of view is much different.
I'm just saying the mechanics of a mouse and keyboard are a lot easier to control than the mechanics of a handheld controller.
Ross says it best. He really does. He doesn't specifically say it, but he has, over the course of Destiny 2's career, like, emphasized with pulse rifles, with auto rifles and SMGs, you don't need to care about the stability. You can sacrifice stability.
Didn't they tweak that recently, though?
Yeah, they did try to tweak that
to try to
make
balance
stability
it
more relevant.
But
I don't know how.
I gotta say the SMGs we were talking about earlier for the Iron Banner bounty, quest. We were talking.
Yeah,
about, they feel so good in Season of the Chosen. Those submachine guns are just lasers now. I love it.
Okay, Sooltime, let's move on.
Funny Bone says FPS is easier on PC. RTS too. I don't know what RTS is.
I don't know what RTS is.
Real-time strategy.
I wish we had Ghost in here to discuss the information about Vault of Glass. I think he's very excited about this, as we all are, but Ghost
maybe
especially.
Next week we'll bring him on.
We'll bring him on
to
as our Vault of Glass protege. Yeah. Expert.
Yep.
Yeah. What did they say about the Vault of Glass? Just that it's. Oh, they revealed that Venus.
The
Venus is going to be
a
location.
Up their sleeve in terms of what you have, and they are doing a world's first with a re-release, but they've got like certain challenges that are going to go along with it.
Right.
Right. You have to finish some triumphs.
Since everyone going in will kind of know the basic mechanics, so they wanted to add in another layer.
A layer of
to make that.
I think they hinted that they might have thrown in a few curveballs on the mechanics too to make it on Destiny 2 difficulty standards.
So I'm excited. I'm excited to go in for the retro aspect of it, but also the new stuff. Heck no.
Oh, but they did mention. They did mention. I'm glad you said that because they mentioned a master version of the raids and how they want that to come out a little closer to the launch of the first raid.
Right.
So
they're bringing more. It sounds like just
but that's been
like the overall bringing
master version.
More access to adept weapons to
in PvE.
The PvE players, not just Grandmaster.
Not only that, but difficulty.
Everywhere.
Deepstone Crypt, we even can run through Deepstone Crypt on a good day.
On a good day.
We ran through it. It wasn't a good day.
On a good day.
No, it was not.
on a good day, we can run through it
but
really
we have
quickly,
so much fun.
fairly quickly. And
sometimes I wonder
it'd
if
be
we're
nice
screwing
if
up
there
on
was a
purpose.
It'd be nice if there was a challenging mode on raids. That's been a huge thing missing. They had the prestige versions, I think they called them for a while.
And then
on the
hard mode
Leviathan.
in the old days. Remember that? Hard mode?
Yeah. So
sure.
I think that this is definitely a step in the right direction, thinking about the longevity of raids, because there's not a lot of incentive to go back and do raids, and there should be. And they're great.
Richard says Master Dungeons as well. So
yeah, they're bringing back Master Level. So I just think that
nice.
I like that. I think that that's.
We're also saying this as people who will probably not engage with these.
Not do it.
Unless
Richard carries us.
To clarify.
We'll try to clarify. Right. I don't think that none of us got the catalyst for the
Dead Man's Tale?
Dead Brain's Tale.
The exotic shotgun, which I, again, can't remember the name of. What's the shotgun? The Leviathan. The one from the Leviathan.
Legend of Acreus.
Oh, and I just got it. It's dropping from Nightfalls now. I got it at the end of a Nightfall.
Catalyst, yes.
Yeah. So
I want it.
I want it too.
Do the ordeal.
None of us were willing to take on the hard mode of that raid.
No, we weren't.
It's like we get used to our roles, and we want to stick with that role, and we don't want to change it.
Sometimes I think if in the back of our heads we're screwing up our raid runs on purpose so that we get to spend more time with each other.
Sooltime, that sounds suspiciously like a confession.
It's not. It's not. It's not.
All right, let's move on.
Okay, thank you, Salliebug.
Transmog.
Oh,
Woo!
801.
Oh I'm so excited for this.
I almost ran and got my guitar to write a song about 801 and her loom. That's how excited I was.
I was actually
Adelaide.
I said to Sooltime, it's like, now it's going to take us like an hour to prep for going into a raid with our raiding team, because we'll all be down at Ada going, no, wait a second, I need the perfect outfit for this run.
Well, it sounds like we're going to have limited loom materials, so we're going to really have to pick and choose.
Oh, I just hope it's nothing like the kiosk to get the Terabot.
Oh, man, but if that's like,
it will be.
I'm just so looking forward to this as like a casual player. If like I can just go farm materials to just make my guardian look nice all the time.
Yeah, that's what
I'm all about it.
I wish it was unlimited grinding from ornaments.
Right now, it looks like it won't be unlimited grinding, though. It looks like there's a specific amount that you can get per season.
I know, I already said that.
But I know, but hopefully, I'm just excited about it, regardless of the
grind
limitations. The limitations, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And this also needs to be said specifically. Shaders are now permanently unlocked.
Oh my God, so good.
That is just ever since the day Destiny 2 launched.
You know you're a Destiny fan when these little QOL things make you so happy.
Yeah, I know. When Destiny 2 launched and I found the new shader system, I was like, they need to change it back. They need to change it back. And I think
I remember you saying
players
that.
felt the same. And
I get the idea.
Here we are. How many years later?
12.
I get the idea of like mixing and matching shaders, and I know that they wanted to like give it a little more So like in D1, you just applied a shader and it just applied to your guardian. But that's what I end up doing.
I hear that. That doesn't excuse for the fact that they were consumables. Back in the day, you couldn't even get more from your collections. They were consumables, and once you used them, they were gone forever.
Yep.
It was terrible system.
Yeah, when D2 launched, there wasn't even the collection. The collection they brought about for
It seemed like it was
Forsaken.
driven by Eververse and Activision.
Yeah, and now they're just, you know,
there I
when
said
they
it.
and now when they drop, it's just like, oh, okay, well, now they've dropped it. I either get glimmer or legendary shards from it because, like, why keep it? I'm just gonna go pull it out of my collection if I want to use it.
Now it's just a nuisance. It's one of those things like blue gear.
Yeah, just keep throwing it into my vault instead of dealing with it because it's too much work.
I already have too much in my vault as it is.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm ready for them to introduce auto dismantle of blues. That will be the next big victory for Destiny players.
Absolutely. Just like they did with the greens.
I keep some blues around, but only for the infusion.
Yeah, but if they remove blues as the main step of infusion, then that's solves that problem.
They're already solving the infusion barrier because they're limiting the power increase.
So it's just Pinnacle, right? It should only be Pinnacle drops raise your power as long as you're caught up from last season.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I like it.
I think.
I mean, it seems like once you got to that Pinnacle level, right, that automatic blues automatically drop, but just to like be at the end, like we played some Gambit with our granddaughter last night, and it's like after like 4 games, I got like some message saying your postmaster is full. It's just like so many blues.
Yeah, no, you have to keep on top of it because you get at least 4 drops of blues.
Right.
After every game. If you don't keep on top of it, it's ridiculous.
Dim does have the farming feature. You can just click on a switch.
If your vault is good.
Yeah. Right. But it's just like, you know, either auto dismantle blues or stop dropping so friggin' many for every match.
Truth be known, I'm putting blues in. I'm slotting blues to up my power level right now.
Me too, but I don't think that should be a part of the game.
Well, when they only raise it 10, it's not going to be much a part of the game anymore.
Well, let's hope it exactly. Yeah, I hope
so. Another benefit.
Change in power.
Yep, looping back to that. So they go on now with this TWAB to readdress Saladin in the Iron Banner. And the Presage mission to get the catalyst, uncovering new lore and finding a sweet new catalyst for Dead Man's Tale that does, allow better hip fire. They have a little trailer there for it. Master difficulty can prove challenging, but with the right fire team, you can absolutely find success. I'm willing to try it.
Richard?
No, let's not bother Richard. We should try it, Sally. We should try it on our own.
Did you say you want to try the master version, just the 2 of you?
Yeah.
No, not just the 2 of us.
Salliebug was up late last night trying to.
We watched a stream.
We're not talking about me staying like wasting an hour and a half of my life trying to do something I was totally not capable of doing.
Wait, what were you trying to do?
Yeah, tell the people.
Empire hunt at 1300.
And what was your light level?
What's your light level?
1306 with the
power.
So you were at power.
You're at power, but
I was at power. I just didn't. I got to the boss, and I could get the boss about halfway down, and I just didn't have because the resources would dry up. I wouldn't have heavy. And
it'd take too long at that point.
Yeah, and it was just and then just some random
Nighthawk.
Some random. You can't change your loadout, so it's like by the time I realize I need to I'm not going to be able to do. I'm not going to be able to do it with this loadout. By the time I realize that, I'm stuck with what I have. I have to use this because I don't have anything else.
But then you get it on your second try, right?
Was there a reward for doing it solo that made you want to do it?
Yeah, Cloud Strike.
But you don't have to do that solo.
No, you don't have to do it solo. It was just nobody else was on, and Sooltime got tired, and I was still kind of not wanting to not play anymore. So, and
you should have sent a message to the LFG.
Yeah, we have an LFG channel.
You know what the thing is that I just noticed that nobody was on, and I didn't want to like have Richard get on at 4 a.m. and say, "Okay, I'll help you." I don't want to contribute to their bad sleeping habits.
Get himself out of bed.
Okay, I was just during that last passage looking ahead a little bit in the TWAB, and everybody should read that 2021 update if you haven't done so already. Even read it twice. Mm-hmm. Richard says he was still awake, by the way, Salliebug. Of course he would have done it with you. He would have hopped in. He would have wasted the boss with him.
Wanted him to go to bed.
I was asleep.
I know, but I just I always feel guilty about just saying, Richard, come help me.
That's what the LFG is for. No one has to answer.
Yeah, there are plenty of unanswered calls in the LFG channel. Plenty.
Right.
Yeah, I should have sent something out, but.
And also, Sooltime, while you're on it, because I want to bring up these next couple of things.
Sure.
The last bullet in that TWAB says, "and more," from that state of play.
Right.
State of Destiny 2. Those extra things include, yes, mentions of crossplay, but also Ikora Ray will be
the
featured
return of Ikora Ray. I forgot about that. I'm glad you brought that up.
I complain about it every time I'm in the tower.
Next season, she will be
I walk
featured.
by her, and I just every once in a while I just go in there and try to talk to her, and they just say,
"Me too."
Sorry,
I just sadly press A.
And then I just do a sad emote in front of her, and then move on.
Yeah.
All right, so we know what Richard's doing with me right after this podcast.
And one last thing that's relevant to us and our casual viewers is legendary stasis weapons. Legendary stasis energy and power weapons are coming in Season 15, this year's equivalent of Season of Arrivals.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if Funny Bone's still on, but he does not like stasis, somebody told me. He doesn't care for stasis, at least in PvP.
I think primarily in PvP.
I don't like getting frozen.
Right.
It's way too long. It lasts. Just kill me.
Yeah,
just kill me instantly and get it over with. I hate it. Why even bother? As soon as you're frozen, I just stop even pushing anything on my controller. I just wait for the death to happen.
I try. Because you know it's gonna happen. Lately I've been trying. I see it pop up like BB to break out, and I'm getting in the habit of doing it as soon as I can. But I still die before I can even break out because the breakout animation takes so long.
It's awful.
Which is
what we're used to in PvE, though. I think it's so satisfying.
Yeah,
I like it in PvE, and I don't mind it in PvP. I just have hopes, and I was talking about this with Funny Bone yesterday. It's I do have hopes that they will make the adjustments needed, either pulling up the light or pulling down the stasis to get it to be a viable thing. They listed a ton of nerfs in the state of the game, but they didn't list specifics, so it's all about how they actually implement them.
Yeah,
right.
I think
I have faith in them, and I just it doesn't make sense for them to pull stasis out of PvP because it doesn't make sense with their narrative of the light versus dark that I think is that they're moving towards.
Also their entire philosophy has always been a blended experience. They have never pulled something from PvP only, maybe save from a weapon. And but even then, they try not to. So they really want it to carry it all the way across. But what they can do is just take out the frozen. Just take out freezing and slowing. Right. You still have the other abilities, but you don't get frozen. And I think, I don't know if we brought this up before, but one of my ideas was why not have the opposite of a mayhem mode where all of your abilities just charge really, really slow. So that you do have. I've brought this up since Destiny 1, and also, but they did mention that in the state of the game, they said they recognize that abilities have overtaken PvP.
Right, there's a balance.
And they want to refocus gunplay as the number one
Right.
focus. And that, for I think a lot of PvP players, myself included, though I'm only an occasional PvPer, was a relief. That's what we want. We want gunplay.
Right. So.
Yeah. Well, in New England, we have
there's hope.
Yeah, in New England, we have a phrase about the weather. We say, if you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes. And I think after 7 years into this franchise, I can apply that concept to Destiny.
Right.
If you don't like something in it, chances are it's going to change come next season or down the line eventually.
They're much quicker and better about it than they used to be.
Especially the last few years,
You think back to D1, and there
6
were
months
guns
without
in the
even a
meta
TWAB,
that were just
right?
Right. So it's anyway. Let's move on. I'm.
Richard says he'd rather deal with Hawthorne talking than deal with stasis and PvP.
If only that was as easy a fix for the developers, Richard.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, that would be so. Yeah, it's just not. You can't just flip a switch on these things. It takes a lot of testing and coding.
But I think that they're obviously listening to the community. They obviously
will
know
go out and say.
Yeah.
What I would just say that's.
Go ahead.
I would just say that stasis is a net positive on the game.
Oh, absolutely. And
for us PvE people, for sure. Absolutely.
I definitely have hopes that they will make the adjustments necessary to make it a viable experience in PvP.
And the next item in the TWAB is diving deeper into the Deep Stone Crypt.
I love their deep dives.
Oh, well, they remember they used to be called ride-alongs. I like that.
Yeah.
When they would get on the sparrows and ride through the content. But it's the same concept. They're going to go in and with some of the developers and people from the team talking about the design of the Deep Stone Crypt. And that is Wednesday, March 3rd, 10 a.m. Pacific time. That would be...
So we won't be watching it live, but
1 p.m. Eastern time in the U.S.
Unless you mysteriously get sick.
Which 1 p.m. That's going to be noon time, Central. I don't know where you guys are.
Yeah.
Whatever it's called, Central time, and then that's going to be like 6 p.m. After
it'd be 11 a.m. for us.
Yeah.
Or no, 12 p.m.
Yeah, 12
noon.
For us Central timers.
It's going to be noon for you guys.
For you,
it's going to be 1 p.m. for us.
Hopefully they archive it, right?
They're going to have to because we'll be at work.
We'll
be at work, so.
Yeah, it says it's going to be, usually they have it on Twitch and YouTube, and usually you can go to either one of those and watch previous broadcasts, so.
And then they talk about ritual playlist weapon rewards. They mention searching for a bottom dollar hand cannon in the Gambit.
Did they up the rates?
Each of these weapons has a low drop rate and deep perk tools intended to give players dedicated to a particular playlist a weapon to hunt. The goal introducing these rewards was to provide space for longer-term ritual-specific goals for players as they chase after the perfect roll on a given weapon. Somebody brought up that I remember there's like thousands of combinations because they added like 6 perks.
Yeah, the amount.
Yeah, you can get almost every roll with these playlist weapons.
It's crazy, yeah.
But with the drop, right, there's so many different, all the different perk pools. So, like, getting the chance of getting the god roll, you have to get the gun first. So, and then to get the perfect
that
roll,
also includes getting the perfect barrel and perfect rounds,
right.
Which I think is a little excessive.
Yeah, it is.
So you could say it's a 1 in 50,000 chance, but really, like, you don't need every single perk.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, most of the perks
at any rate,
good.
they're making some adjustments, right?
Yeah, they said while the drop rates for each individual owner are not intended to be so high that it's easy to quickly acquire a large amount of rolls, we've been seeing some feedback that they currently feel too scarce. Current plan is to increase drop chances for these ritual-specific weapons later in Season of the Chosen. So yes, while we don't want these weapons to become a short-term grind for players seeking perfect rolls, we do believe that they need to drop a bit more frequent for them to be a positive experience when completing the associated activities. Once these drop changes are live, we'll be watching the conversation to see if any other changes need to be made. So they're on it. And Romance Girl had a really good suggestion that she had seen about equipping the right ghost perk, right? When you're in these activities, Gambit, Crucible, whatever.
You want to make sure.
Yeah, posterity.
The correct one. And I actually tried that, and I did get a bottom dollar out of that, I think. It did drop for me.
I've been very lucky with RNG in Destiny 2, and so I've gotten like all the playlist weapons that I've jumped into almost immediately. So I
haven't gotten. I did get a bottom dollar, but I haven't done the Nightfall enough. I think I only did it a couple of times, so I haven't gotten any of those Nightfall, like the Palindrome or what is it, Shadow Strike. But that's all right. I didn't put the grind in for it either, so I'm not feeling bad about it. I know it'll come back around, and I'll try for it if I really want to. Bottom dollar is kind of fun. I pull it out and do it every now and again. It's not the greatest of rolls for me right now, and it's hard to choose that one over some of my other favorites. So, Console SDR.
Yeah, Console SDR status update. They've worked out some bugs with this system, and SDR stands for Steam Datagram Relay.
Okay.
Bottom line is they are implementing DDoS protection for console users, which includes us. We're Xbox people. So they're rolling that out during Season of the Chosen, and we'll be sure to announce when our work is done, they say. So I've not experienced being DDoSed. Have you, anybody here, ever experienced that?
I think that is really
a targeted attack, like on streamers, for example.
Yeah, I think those are going to be for like the upper echelon in.
Well, definitely in trials, I would think it would come in handy.
Primarily trials, maybe a little bit in Iron Banner.
Target their IP address. It's like a targeted, very cruel attack. Like you can't get back online at all.
Yeah.
It sucks. The only time I've experienced DDoSing is I had a student who's really interested in computer programming asked permission to DDoS our server at school, and I gave him permission to do it, and it wiped out the network. It was hilarious, and so we had to reset everything, reset the router. If I just wanted, I just sure go ahead. Let's see what happens. So yeah,
you're encouraging him to be one of those.
No, I would not have.
Knows how to do it.
I would not have given the green light unless I trusted this individual implicitly. So, yeah, that was pretty funny.
All right.
So I think it's time for our special segments now. Salliebug, are you ready to start our Touch of Grimoire? Are you all set?
Yeah, sure. Let's dive into it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
The Paracasual Destiny podcast presents A Touch of Grimoire. Salliebug, take it away.
Well, we of course talked about the Presage.
Presage.
Still not sure I'm pronouncing it right. Anyway, the Presage mission and the lore behind it is just as good as the gun and the mission itself. It is so good, and I'll give you a brief synopsis. Obviously not wanting to do too many spoilers, but I probably will anyway. So here's your warning. So if you don't want to get spoiled in what the lore of this is, you can turn off now or pause and jump ahead. Anyway, so the lore behind this is there is the main character of the dead man is Catabasis, and he has joined or been recruited by Callus, who is now an outcast from the Cabal as Emperor of the Cabal. And Callus is trying to commune with the darkness because the darkness had promised him power and kind of left him high and dry. And he is now trying to get back to, and so he has this plan to commune with the darkness, and he has recruited he's got a couple of other Cabal on his side, a Scion who is kind of doing his the scientific exploration, laboratory experimentation stuff to try to, and they're using Scorn to try to, and apparently the Crown of Sorrow to try to figure out a way to commune with the darkness. And so they steal this ship and go out into, I think near the reef, I believe. Anyone else want to back me up there or no?
That's where you go to find the mission, Tangled Shore.
Yeah, so I think they steal the ship, they go off into the reef, and the Scion that I can't remember the name of, the Scion's character is going off into, is doing these experimentation with the Scorn to try to figure out a way to commune with the darkness. And then, of course, Callus tries and fails, and then tries again, and at one point just disappears. So we don't know whether he's been swallowed up by the darkness or whether he's been killed by the darkness or whatever happened to him, but it leaves Catabasis and that Scion, and I believe kind of like the other bodyguard-esque Cabal that was on the ship with them, fending off the darkness and losing. And eventually, because I think they got sucked into kind of like the darkness, and the Scion figures out a way to get them back out of the darkness, but she doesn't, or he, whether it's a he or she, doesn't survive being ported back, but they are back. And obviously Catabasis sends out a distress signal saying, if anyone out there, come and help me. We're out here fighting the Scorn and the darkness, and need a good deal of help. And if you can come out and help me and save me, then I'll give you my gun. And eventually everyone ends up succumbing to the darkness, long story short. But it's a great read, so read the lore book. I think it's called Captain's Log, which you can find like on Ishtar Collective, or maybe even through the Bungie webpage, but I think you have to actually discover it first if you haven't. Meramorphic, once again, I will give him a shout out, does a great reading of it and has it posted up on his YouTube channel. So if you just want to listen and listen to his voice acting, it's another way to experience it. But an interesting piece to it, and I think what I would like to do is request that Greenstego read the lore from the actual gun, which is the Dead Man's Tale. You okay with doing that, Stego?
Yes, I am. Dead Man's Tale. Oh. Long, short, they all end the same way. Tabasis. Galen IV's Warbeast leads us through balmy Venusian jungle. Our rifles low, our ghosts high in the canopy like sentry drone. My vehicle is old, needs maintenance. Been running too long without cutting the engine, I say. Galen sends me a sideways look. That shipwright still around? She used to make cider in the autumn. I swear, she kept us all like a pack of strays. I sigh. No, I mean this thing. I run my hand over my body. Besides, I can't go back there. I straighten the leather wrap around my Tex Foundry rifle. I literally tuned myself, right? Asks the Exo Hunter. Why? You're immortal. And you're not? I know, but I'm slower. I feel slower. Uh-huh. Just not like what I used to feel like. Not spry. Not up here either. I tap my helmet. Tragedy. I feel for you. Have Gilgamesh tune you then. I chuckle. Yeah, he'd love that. You two having issues again? I shake my head in a stiff, narrow lie. You think we come back the same every time? I do. Straight from the manufacturer, Galen IV says. Sometimes I get the feeling something's different. Galen stops and squints at me. I dip my head and let my hood fall forward. Nothing I can put my finger on. Just little things. Adjustments. You think he's changing you? Galen's voice sounds more serious than surprised. I wait too long to answer, and it's not because I don't know my answer, but because I want to feel like I still doubt it. I raise my head. Galen meets my eyes and looks up to the canopy. He leans his shoulder into me and drops his voice to a whisper. My clip's a good one, but you need to realize ghosts don't know anything. Nobody does. They're just like us. They get curious, they question. Do you think something's coming unwound? You need to sit down and talk it out. Wait, did Clip change you? Please. Galen stops. You're paranoid. He turns to keep walking and falls back. Life changes you. Same with them. I'm the only one that stays the same. Galen raises a fist and we stop. His Warbeast sniffs the air and turns us east. We continue walking. What'd you name the beast? Caston. You've been reading too many of the Spider's books. Some of them are good. I laugh. Aren't you the man that said anything you got tying you down can be made into a noose? Yeah, some time ago. You've been taking a lot of jobs with him? Those fallen? You're one to talk, Emperor's lackey. Some of those Elixni aren't so bad. And scene.
So, what is super interesting about what I found the most interesting about this lore is how it really does open the door that a ghost does have the potential to have more influence on you than you think. And then as you dive into the story behind the Presage mission, the ghost does actually end up getting corrupted by the darkness. And I was going to have us read the final chapter of that lore book, Captain's Log, called Debtor's Knife, but I think I'm going to leave that for you all to go and read. But it is definitely a good read, and the idea behind the fact that our ghosts aren't 100% tied to the light and 100% tied to the traveler, that they are capable of being influenced by the darkness. And I just feel like this completely opens that door of light guardians and dark guardians. And that is the road and the path that Destiny is going down, or at least in my opinion. So there we are.
All right.
There we are.
And we'll link to that lore in the description for sure. So one thing we've tried to do with these special segments, the lore and the sound segments that we have, is integrate them. And we've done so again this episode. And it is now time for, you guessed it, the Destiny Sound Check. Brought to you by Paracasual Destiny Podcast, of course. So I went on and looked at the soundtrack to the Presage mission, and there is a wonderful YouTuber out there, as well as has a presence on Twitch and Discord. His name's Bresci, and he uploads the sound files from the game. And I think he can do that without any, break of the EULA or terms of service or whatever, as long as it's not lossless. I think he's able to upload these things, and he's very good at not just giving us the music in a very timely fashion when these things come out, but he also is very good at pointing out the various motifs and themes that are used in this. And so I chose one of the OSTs, the original soundtrack files that he uploaded from the Presage mission, called Action. And basically this is heard during the mission. His comment in his description, he says about this piece of music, it's odd that they're using the No Mercy / Dominus Gaul melody for Scorn, but it's an abandoned Cabal ship, so it makes sense for the music on it to be Cabal themed. And so we'll go ahead and listen to this piece of music. It's 2 minutes 53 seconds long. Let's go ahead and give it a listen. Okay, that's Destiny 2, Season of the Chosen original soundtrack from the Presage mission, the track called Action. And I should mention that this composition was written by Michael Salvatore, Sky Lewin, and C. Paul Johnson. And a commenter on the video version of this points out the different motifs recognized. This is Brooks Alderman says he recognized first Forsaken motifs, then the Rise, then Be Brave, then Forsaken again, and mentions Dies Irae. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's a Mozart composition towards the end. Yeah. Pretty cool stuff. And I noticed scanning over the comments, a lot of people pointed out their favorite part of that composition was at a minute 26. And M2CKL1 commented, I like the motif that plays at 126, reminding you that even though you're on a darkness-infested ship that's scarily abandoned, you're still a guardian of the light, and you're there to kick some alien ass. So I am going to play that one more time at 126 to give us all a little hope that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Here is that motif. Wow, those drums are just delicious. Right there. Okay, so I think ending on a positive note with this episode's sound check, that wraps up pretty much this episode of Paracasual Destiny podcast. Before we send ourselves on our way and you on your way, are there any other media consumption shares out there that somebody would like to mention? Salliebug?
Well, we finished season 4 of The Crown.
Oh, yeah.
And as always, just a really good story. I don't know how much, I know that it's obviously happened. Based in reality, but
it all happened. It's more fun if you just pretend it's documented.
Yeah, just pretend that it's all 100%. So,
yeah.
But the characters, the actors and actresses who are portraying these real life people are just doing an amazing job at it. They're very convincing, and the storyline is done really well because obviously, like, you kind of know what happens, right, with Prince Charles and Princess Diana. But to watch it we do.
We're old enough.
But to watch it unfold and watch kind of like potentially some background scenes it was good. And we're making our way through the Marvel universe. We got through a couple of more movies in that timeline.
Yeah, what's the latest one we watched?
Working our way
Where
through.
are we now?
I think the last one we watched was Winter Soldier.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, yeah. Was Guardians of the Galaxy after Winter Soldier?
I think it was.
Yeah, that one was fun. There. Guardians of the Galaxy was super fun.
Yeah, lots of fun.
I like that one.
We like Groot.
Super sci-fi.
Yes.
Yeah. So and his thing is that he listens to music that he got from his mother, and it's all music of my childhood. So you connect with
soundtrack.
it.
Great soundtrack in that one for sure.
With it. So definitely, if you haven't watched Guardians of the Galaxy, definitely go. You can, and it stands by itself outside of, like, I actually didn't really see how it connected to any of the other Marvel movie, like the others are kind of like all interconnected, but Guardians of the Galaxy
It's a good standalone.
It's a good
stands alone.
But
so you
there's
can
nods.
go and watch it, and
there's nods
and
in
it's
the, in the, in the
sci-fi,
script.
but it's comedic sci-fi, so it's like a good sci-fi tale, but there's comedy with it and good actors, and so
The whole package.
yep.
Stan Lee cameo.
Yes, of course, the Stan Lee cameo.
The obligatory Stan Lee cameo.
You're waiting for it. You wait for it every
Yeah.
time. It's like, where is he going to be? What's he going to do this time? So much fun.
Daniel?
I just
or Romance Girl? Either.
I was gonna say I just yesterday finished Ori and the Will of the Wisp.
Ooh, we were talking about that, Salliebug.
Of the Ori series.
We were talking about that. What did you think?
On Xbox Game Pass.
Is it good? Is it just as hard or easier or about the same? Just a different story?
I heard it was harder.
I'd say it's good. I wouldn't even say. I might say that it's a little easier in my recollection, but just because Ori is one of those games where like the more you play it, the better you are with it.
Yeah.
You know, it's
platforms can be
especially tough. Yeah, and I mean, as longtime listeners know, I'm not the best at jumping, and Ori is 90% jumping puzzles.
Yeah.
But even I was able to get through most of them without passing the controller off.
2D's a little different too, as well. Side scrolling.
It's like and I think I did finally finish the first one, but it's like sometimes for those, I just like to sit on the couch and tell Sooltime what to do because I know he can execute it.
They have gotten a lot better with these types of games of giving you a baby mode, which I don't take advantage of enough. But if you just like to soak in the aesthetics and the story, which is my favorite part of Ori, even though the gameplay is a lot of fun. But
there's a baby mode, which is nice.
Toggle the baby mode because you can just put it back on normal too. It's toggleable.
I really wish there was a baby mode for Cuphead.
I know how some people want updates and get hard mode. For Cuphead, I want them to come out with a DLC for easy mode.
Baby mode Cuphead.
Yeah. I need a baby mode for Cuphead. I did not get very far in that game.
Cuphead Junior.
I wanted to keep playing, but I couldn't.
I just couldn't. Yeah, I hit a brick wall for sure.
Yeah.
But Ori and the Will of the Wisp is highly recommended. It is, it hits all of the boxes. If you liked the first one, the music, the art, the story,
the aesthetics of that all there. Is beautiful. So nice,
and it's just so beautiful.
Yeah,
Speaking
definitely
of baby mode,
on my to-do list.
I was just reminded that Hades has an equivalent. They don't call it easy mode. You can toggle on God mode.
Right.
And that's just a setting that I forgot about until I was just reminded by the internet recently. And
just so that you can progress further.
You can progress further in the story.
Right.
Nice.
You just aren't as concerned with the prestige of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because that one's hard. But yeah, I'm still plugging away at Hades, making runs every now and then because that's just the way the game goes. You can complete a run of the game and get like progress through like the actual game of it in like half an hour of gameplay basically, or
because the idea of the game is you keep running it over and over.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
And it gets progressively harder, but it also, you can unlock permanent upgrades.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And it's been a blast. And I want to say that experience to that Greek mythology game helped me appreciate our recent watch of Blood of Zeus a little bit more, which was amazing. We binged through the season of the show that's available on Netflix in just a few days. So it's definitely something that someone can watch in a weekend. And it's really good.
Nice.
A lot of gore, but very good.
So it's basically anime-style Greek mythology?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's by the same studio, Powerhouse Animation, that did Castlevania.
Oh, okay.
So if you enjoyed Castlevania,
Blood of Zeus is visually stunning. They really, and they put the concept art and some of the animatics at the end credits.
Oh, nice.
Really appreciated, because we always love seeing the behind the scenes of the art. And it's beautiful. They put a lot of work into that show.
And Sooltime? Outside of what I mentioned.
Yeah, kind of the same thing. I briefly tried out, starting a character in Ark Survival Evolved, and it was challenging without going to a YouTube tutorial or whatever. It's a little bit challenging to figure out what you needed to do, but we did it, and I was able to die quite a few times before building a hut and making a campfire. So eating lots of berries. So very beginnings of that game. Tried just to, now that we have Game Pass, trying out some different games. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
Pretty much it.
I mean,
Looking forward to
we also
Ori.
have delved a little bit into an kind of like a co-op RPG called Haven.
Oh yeah, it's more of an indie game
that we found. Yeah, that we found on Game Pass, and it's an interesting. It's an interesting tale. I was having a little bit of difficulty with the movement and how to move around and so forth, but the storyline is interesting. We haven't gotten really that far, and it's really just like a simplified version of going around and collecting stuff and bringing them back to your home base.
Are y'all doing co-op?
We haven't delved into co-op yet. We're really just going back and passing the controller back and forth at this point. So
cool.
But I know that is an option as well. Like we could both control both characters. So, but
I think that about wraps it up. Valentine's Day. That's about it.
That'll do it.
That'll do it for this episode. Would like to thank everybody for tuning in today and contributing to our chat. We do this podcast live on our YouTube channel, so you can just search Paracasual Destiny Podcast on YouTube to find us there. We are at Paracasual P on Twitter. And we do this every other Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time here on YouTube. And then you can find us on just about any podcast outlet there is. Please let us know what we got wrong or whether you like us or not. Reach out. We'd love to hear from you. So from Sooltime, this has been episode 27 of the Paracasual Destiny Podcast. Bye, everybody.
Bye.